So welcome you all to this interesting webinar on using the global search in SHS, in the Synergy Homeopathic software. All right. So using the global search in SHS. Now this is one of the very interesting topics, challenging topics for a new beginner to learn about SHS, about the Synergy Homeopathic software. Now, why is it a challenge? Sorry. It's a challenge because uh, normally we are used to taking the patient symptoms and looking up the rubrics which are already present in the repertory. There is a set of rubrics, and then we take few rubrics of the case and we analyze. But what happens is that there are many cases where you will either not be able to find that particular symptom in the repertory, or you will not be able to find that particular uniqueness of the patient in the repertory, and you will need something advanced. That is where the Synergy Homeopathic software will come of use, especially the search feature. So let's see further. Now what we'll be learning today, we'll be learning about many things in the search. Okay, many things, out of which the few are enlisted over here on the slide, and you can see very clearly that we'll have uh, you know general topic discussion over repertory search in repertory rubric search in the SHS in the through the SHS search. We'll be having single symptom search. There is some unique symptom in the case and we'll make a search for that. There may be cases where you have found the particular symptom in the repertory, in the rubric, in any other repertory, but there will be cases where that symptom is not covering the other aspects of the case, or vice versa, or other aspects of the case are covered and this particular symptom which is unique to the patient is not covered in the rubrics. So we'll see couple of scenarios for that. Only by using the search, how can you do a repertorization in SHS? That is another uniqueness we'll be seeing today. Another thing what is mentioned over here is about confirming the remedy. How will you confirm the remedy? Okay. So there will be cases where you will have the case solved and you still want to know whether this remedy covers this particular clinical condition, or you want to make an advanced search for that remedy or group of remedies or family and whatnot. And then there can be certain instances where you have read some clinical conditions in some book, but you will not be able to find that out easily because you'll have to scan through the whole book manually and it takes a lot of time. So symptom search from a particular book like Boric, by like Clark. And the last but not the least, of course, because I had to make it concise as much as as small as I could. And the last one which we have is studying a particular remedy or family in the search option of SHS. So let's go over the first instance, which is making a rubric search. So you'll have a case in your clinic which says that it is the patient has some sort of pain in the ankle and it is a kind of a burning pain. So it's very, very, very simple. You know the rubric. you know how it is present in the repertory, where it is present, and you know which repertories can show you those rubrics, the bigger repertories especially. So you can go to the program. Okay, I'll go to the program, just a minute. I just make a search for pain space ankle, and again a space and burning. So it's just these three words with a space and nothing more in between, and just I press enter. So now instantly I get a result from all the different repertories which are present in my program. It can be reliable repertory, it can be complete repertory, it can be complete 2005, 2013, 2019, whatever repertories I use. Of course, the additional ones are for the testing purpose we definitely use. You can see Kent repertory, Mayer's repertory. So this makes my job easier. This simplifies my job. A single symptom which I know that it exists in the repertory, I can definitely go manually to the repertory, and I can make a search for ankle. I can locate the rubric, by going to the extremities and pain, ankle, burning, or pain, burning, ankle, whatever. But if I want to search from different repertories, there I can do it very easily, which I showed you. Now, there will be some cases where there will be some unique symptom in the case. Like suppose it will be ankle walk also, I'll be able to search. Okay. So if I go to the program again, and I want to make a search for ankle walking, and I make a search, and instantly I get the result from the different source books, different repertories, as well as from the source books, of course, wherever ankle and word walk are closely placed to each other, right? But I wanted to right now search only from the repertory and not from the materia medica. That is my focus. So I am happy with the result, and I choose whatever suits best to my case according to what I think is essential. Similarly, if there is a patient with desire sweets, so I locate them by making a search for desire and sweets. Okay. Now there will be some cases where there is some unique symptom in the case. Okay. Now, unique symptom in the case means that there will be pain in the ankle. There will be swelling and redness of that affected part. And there will be shooting and tearing pains. So, normally you will go to 2 to 3 rubrics to make a search for this particular symptom. It will be very rare that it will be present in one single rubric, one single place. So when I make a search for this particular symptom in the reference in the search option of the software SHS. So let me show you how we can do it very easily. So I'll remove the previous searches. I'll close the window so we can view it better. The case was about the ankle swelling, and you can see that it's mentioned that there is swelling and redness of that part, and there is shooting and tearing pains. Okay, so this symptom is like divided into 2 3 parts in the repertory, and for us to bring it together, it requires search of rubrics in 3 4 parts, right? But what we can do in the program, we can make a search very easily through few connectors in the case. So let me show you. I'll share my software now. And now you can see that I'm just making a search for few simple words of the case. And the words are swelling, ankle, shooting. Now, why I am using the number 3? I'll just come to it because it's very important for you to understand how the search is crafted, why it is crafted. And once I use these 3 words in the case, these 3 are the most important words in the case. And I use the number 3 from my keyboard. I just press number 3 and I click on the search bar, search option, or I just press enter. And once I do that, I'm automatically shifted to the reference library part where I see 3 remedies: Merck Sol, oxalic acid, and silica. And the first remedy, which is Merck Sol, shows great swelling of the ankle joint with shooting pains in it, especially when walking and in the evening. So it becomes very easy for us to make a search using a few important words of the case and just lead us directly to the source books. And believe me, this comes from Hahnemann's chronic disease, Materia Medica Pura, I believe. So we'll see how it goes directly into the search, into the source books. So I just do a double click on it, and my search takes me, the search option takes me directly to the result of the symptom in the direct source books. And here you can see it's mentioned in Hahnemann's Materia Medica Pura for Merck Sol, great swelling of right ankle joint with shooting pains in it, especially when walking and in the evening. So I see in the Zoom many questions are there. I'll definitely go step by step. Don't worry. I'll again show the search. Okay, so this is very important, and how we choose the right words. I'll come to that also. It's a very common question everyone has. I myself had it when I was trying to learn the program. This was like 7-8 years ago or 10 years ago. But it's very easy if you understand the concept, and that is what I am here today to share some very important keywords of the case which will transform your practice. So I'll close the windows, and you can see that I have just typed the words swelling, number 3 ankle, number 3 shooting. The number 3 comes from my keyboard. And once I press enter, or I use the search option over here on the right hand side, it shows me 3 results, and I just do a single click on it. It shows me a small pop-up of the symptom which is present in the source book. I do a small click on the second remedy, which is oxalic acid, and it again shows me some search which is present in the result, which is present in the source book. And then we see the third also, which is silica, which also has a similar mention of these 3 combination of words. So I want to read about these symptoms from the books. I just do a double click, and I can see it directly in the source book. It is mentioned great swelling of the ankle joint with shooting pains on it, especially when walking in the evening. So with the use of just 3 important keywords of the case, we can just simplify our case, and rather than running pillar to post from one rubric to another rubric, or making a search in 2 repertories, 3 repertories, which repertory to use, when to use, it's such a mess. Every homeopath has this dilemma, and we can overcome this dilemma with the help of this interesting search option in the software, in the Synergy Homeopathic software. So let me take you back to the PowerPoint, because I have something some interesting concepts for you all to understand the search today. So when I go to the PowerPoint, I have mentioned all these things already. Now I go to the second case, and this case I believe I have shared it earlier also, but I'm sharing it again because this was a very good learning case for me. And it was not the first instance where I could get the remedy. It took me 5 to 6 searches to reach to the right combination of words. So just to explain you the case in short, the patient came with right molar toothache, and she couldn't touch it because it was very sensitive. And I asked what type of pain is it, and she told that it is a shooting kind of pain. It comes and goes immediately. So I have highlighted just 3 words of the case which helped me to reach to the right result. And those words are uh, molar, shooting, and touch. So if I go to the software and I make a search for these 3 combination of words. So let me show you this interesting search, which is going to transform your understanding about the software, about the concept of repertory, about the concept of materia medica, and everything that you know about homeopathy. So I'm just typing molar, number 3, shooting, number 3, touch, and I press enter. So I do get something from the repertory which shows tarantula cubensis in one or two couple of repertories. But when I go to the reference library, it shows me a remedy magnesium muriaticum. And this gives me the result from Hahnemann's chronic disease, tearing and boring in a hollow molar with shooting pain on touching the cheek, relieved by open air and cold, aggravated by warm substances. So whatever was the exactness of the patient expression, I could get that exactness in the source book. In the repertory, you may not even get to know where this symptom has been mentioned by the author. You may not even know which book it is mentioned, which line it is mentioned. But with the help of the search in SHS, you are going to a book. I believe I never opened this book, Hahnemann Materia Medica Chronic Disease, because there are so many other Materia Medicas. Even if I have referred it, it must have been once or twice, just for seeing in general about a certain remedy. But never did I got this. I saw this in the Hahnemann's chronic disease. So, my dear friends, I want to tell you that with the help of search and with the help of a few interesting and unique words of the case, you will directly go to the source books. But it was not easy journey for me. In this case, especially, I would show you that it was very a learning phase, a learning curve for me. And what was it? Let me show you. So you are seeing something which is, showing you my result. But before that, I had to use few interesting searches which jumbled me up. So initial failures were definitely there when the patient came at that moment only. So it took me maybe 15-20 minutes or 30 minutes to craft a few searches and go to the right search, because that was my phase also of learning the search option. So I chose the words right molar shooting. and I used number 3, right, number 3 molar, number 3 number shooting, and I get 34 remedies. Now when I go and I see the next search which I did, because this gave me so many remedies, I was wondering which one to give. So I made another search which is right number 3 molar, number 3 shooting, number 3 touch, which means right within 3 words of molar, within 3 words of shooting, within 3 words of touch. Now this gives me tarantula, which we already saw in the concise search which I did. But still I couldn't get that feeling of giving the patient tarantula. There was not many other things which I could rely upon. And when I see the another another search over here, right molar shooting touch, right within 3 words of molar, within 3 words of shooting, within 3 words of touch, I did not get any result. This will be the case with many homeopaths, many software users, and it's very obvious. Everyone will have a phase where they'll be learning about how to use the search. So when I didn't get success in these initial searches, I just thought that there must be something in the search which helps us lead to the right expression of the patient in our source books. And that was where I crafted the search molar within 3 words of shooting, within 3 words of touch, and there I landed up with magnesium muriaticum. So there will be many cases in your practice, in your use of software, where you will be stuck up, where you will not get any result, where you will not be happy with the result. Like tarantula was coming up from the repertory point, but I was not happy with it. So magnesium was the remedy which opened up my eyes, and the search also helped a lot. So in this way, I could get the result from the source book. Now, what is it that has to be the right word in your search? I would say 80% of the searches have location, sensation, modality, concomitant, something related to these 4 aspects of the case, which is what Bonninghausen also teaches us. So after performing, say, thousands and thousands of searches, I have come to this conclusion that in 80% of my searches in the SHS have been by using the words related to location or sensation, modality, concomitant, or at least 3 of them. And that's where the difference lies in your practice, in your use of software. There will be few exceptions. I have a case just coming up next, but I'll answer a few questions now so that everyone can be on the same page. So let's go over a few questions. And I see someone asking about how to check laboratory investigations in the Synergy software. So my dear colleague, I would say that this software is designed to use from the homeopathic point of view. It is individualistic. It is conceptualized. Earlier the programs were named as MAC repertory reference books, if you see the history. And the programs were conceptualized by a homeopath, by a hobby homeopath, and an entire team of homeopaths working, like the developer being also a homeopath. So the programs were designed in such a way that they have the homeopathic touch in all the aspects. So these lab investigations and all are the modern medicine, and they are the diagnostic point of view, which is also important for us. But what is more important is that irrespective of the diagnosis, whatever grave be the condition, the software will show you something which is individualistic in nature. So I would urge you to keep that laboratory investigations part aside. I have an interesting case of jaundice, by the way, in this slide, and it just struck me that I'll be sharing about it. And there was something unique in the case which set it apart. I'll be sharing it very soon, so you'll get to know. Now, how to search where many systems are involved? This is the next question. When many systems are involved, we'll make a search using in the same remedy connector. And I have a couple of cases with for that also. And another question we come to is, how did you open the source book from the search page? So we just do a double click on the search result, and it opens the source book directly. And one very interesting question, which is a frequently asked questions, what is the number 3 meant for? Okay, so let's continue with the number 3. What is number 3? So I'll take you to the software to help you understand what is this number 3. Everywhere it is used, and Dr. Sankaran uses it, and all the senior homeopaths, all the homeopaths of the world use it. And what is it? So, my dear friends, if I show you that there is a concept of understanding the materia medica, understanding the source books, if you know that, you are definitely going to understand this concept very easily. For example, you will just type fear one space and dog in the search result, and you will get something from the repertory. Just ignore that for the moment. And in the reference library, you are getting 68 remedies, and you can see everywhere in the center it is mentioned that there is fear and dog just close to each other, next to each other, almost like sticking to each other. You can see so many, all the remedies everywhere: fear animals, animals, fear dogs, fear dogs. Nowhere you have any word in between. Now, in our in the books of our authors, many authors later on, like Boger, Fatak, and many recent authors also have made the programs, have made their books concise. They have taken 2-3 words, all words together, and brought them in one line. Like, for example, fear animals, comma, dark, comma, alone, comma, dog. Or it can be fear dark, comma, alone, comma, dog. So the connection between fear and the dog is those 2 words in between, which is dark and alone. And we need to escape those words. Unless you put a connector, you will not be able to get the result from those books. Like, for example, from Boger, from Fatak, and there may be hundreds of more books. You will never know because the literature is so vast. So when you put the number 3 in between, fear number 3 dog, and I make a search, and just ignore the repertory part for the moment, you can see there is 116 remedies giving you this result. 116, which is just the double, almost double. 68 remedies were coming up in just putting the space, and by putting the number 3, we are getting so many of results, 116. And this comes not only from a book where it is mentioned just about fear dog, but wherever there is mentioned fear animals of dogs of. Or maybe you can see over here, there is, I think there is in Calcarea silicata or some remedy where it is mentioned about some additional fears. You can see fear accidents of comma dogs, comma cockroaches and death. So in this way, it it opens up those cases also. Calcarea bromatum. This is where it is mentioned, because I have been using this search for demonstrating to all the homeopaths wherever we go, wherever we present. So it was there in the Calcarea, some Calcarea remedy. This is what I knew. So in this way, it will open up many of your cases if you know how to use the right connector in the case, right word in the case. Okay. So you will see many of such cases. And before proceeding, I also see one question where it is being asked that when to use a same sentence and number two and all. I have a few cases about same sentence and we'll definitely get to it. Okay. So let's proceed with another case where we'll see an interesting case of ulcer on the tongue. And you can see how the ulcer is present only on the right side of the tongue. By just seeing the picture, we'll be able to understand what type of ulcer it is. I mean, you can see that it is there in the just next to the tip of the tongue, and just above that ulcer, there is a good surface area which is having the normal skin, and then again above that area we have the ulcer again, which is quite large. Okay, so one is over here, you can see, and one is over here, and there is a normal skin in between. And you can see in the second picture, it shows you a white edge on the right hand side. You know, this is how I took, because uh, the search is very interesting. Okay, so this is the case. Okay, so there are large ulcers on the right side of the tongue. Complaints are since 2 to 3 weeks, and on closer examination, the ulcers have whitish borders and are really deep. I mean, from the photograph, you will be able to understand slightly, but when you see it closely to the patient, or maybe in the second photo, you will be able to understand that it has a curve. So when you go to the details of the case, you can see that it's deep and it has a whitish border. Now you want to make a search for these combinations. You know, there are few things in the case, and you want to make a search. So I just head over to the search option. Okay, and I type ulcer right tongue. So I already told you that there will be a few exceptions where maybe you'll be using two locations and one sensation, or you'll be using two sensations and one location, something like that. So I'm just typing over here ulcer number 3 right, number 3 tongue. And once I press enter, I get many results from the repertory. I can get lost in the repertory. There are numerous rubrics, numerous remedies, which one to choose, how to choose, why to choose. Okay. And when you go to the reference library, you see 10 remedies. Now, this is the area of interest. If you are a serious homeopath, if you are a serious software user, if you have really invested your money and you feel that you should pay attention to what is coming in the search results, just spend couple of minutes over here, and this is going to, take your practice to another level. Believe me. Aristolochia clematitis, ulcer on the right tip of the tongue. Second is arsenic hydrogenisatum, tongue somewhat enlarged on the right, a deep irregular ulcer. Next day, a second nodular swelling of a dark color coming to a point. Remedy number 3, clematis. and it is a big thing. UGS Cyclopedia mentions it. Ulcers on the right side of the tongue and so on and so forth, fissures on the tongue and so on and so forth. Okay, we'll read all the remedies. Okay, then there is a rare remedy which is I believe Cygnus. I never prescribed it, never would never ever think of prescribing right now at this moment, because it by what concept it has come and what will be the concept to apply it will be new for me. Emerald from Peter Tuminello's GM remedies. This wouldn't also give me any interest. Kali cyanatum. Now this has a woman had cancerous ulcer on the right side of the tongue involving the root. This is something different. Then you get Merck's Sol. Ulcer on the right edge of the tongue is not more than 3 millimeters in length. It forms a raised granulated surface with a white border which cuts transversely in several places so as to divide it as it were into islets or maybe islands. And then there is sapphire, and then there is silica also. Ulcer on the right border of the tongue, eating into it and discharging much pus in the case of carcinoma. This is what Herring mentions. So I was pretty satisfied with Merck Sol, and I just open it up by doing a double click on it. And when I do it, I see that the ulcer on the right side edge of the tongue, not 3 millimeters in length. Of course, this is not 3 millimeters, it is centimeters. But after ignoring that part, I see that it also has a whitish border. And this is what my case was. And also it mentions that it cuts transversely in several places so as to divide it as it were into islets, which is, isolated islands. So this is where I started giving him Merck Sol and the patient improved. So my only advice to you all is, there will be many words in the case, many things in the case, but you'll have to rely on a few keywords of the case and use it like an artistically. Okay, so let's go to the next case. Now this is one of the very frequently asked question, and I believe right now we also have a shortcut key indicator in the program. Okay, so the shortcuts. When you want to make a search for just next to the previous word, you can press the spacebar once. When you want to use 1, 2, 3 or similarly 9 words, till the 9 words, you can use the numeric key number 1 to 9 on your keyboard in between those words. Same sentence, you can press the spacebar twice. Same paragraph, you can press the spacebar thrice. Same section 4 times and same remedy 5 times. Okay, all these have also been mentioned in the program in the keyboard shortcuts option, and I need not go over it again. But now I'll be covering something more in the case which gives you an indication of how a clinical condition can be solved. So I see a question where it is mentioned that can we see a particular condition of osteoarthritis in the case? You can find it out, but you should know what words to put. If you make a search for osteoarthritis, the latest books will give you osteoarthritis. But was osteoarthritis a word commonly used when there were provings done, when the materia medicas were written? This is a question for us to understand. And if we understand this question, the recent terms, the latest terms, whatever be there, whether it be coronavirus or it be COVID-19 or it be SARS epidemic or it can be hand, foot and mouth disease, you have to rely on something which is individualistic in the case. So try to get the symptoms and try to find using those symptoms. Try to individualize the case. So let me go further. Now, since the last few minutes, I'm seeing a question where a lot of clinical conditions are coming up, how to find the clinical condition in the case. And I got a patient once, this is long back, like 6-7 years ago. Patient came with reports in the hand. He is a software engineer. He came with the reports that SGOT is 181, SGPT is 638. Bilirubin was 10, direct bilirubin was 8, and indirect was 1.87. This is in 2015. He is very educated. He is a software engineer or something like that. And he shared just the reports, and he told that, doctor, I am having jaundice. Please give me some medicine. Now, patients usually land up after doing lot of Google and Practo and all these self-help websites. So we have sometimes very less symptoms to prescribe upon. So I asked him, what is happening, if you can just describe. And he told me that there is slight heaviness in the liver region. I do not have any appetite to eat. Stomach is full. This is very common. No appetite. No nausea, vomiting, which is also unique maybe. And he just, one thing he told me was that his sleep was not good since few days. So what we can find out is that in the search, we can just make a search for peculiar important things in the case, which is the clinical condition and the sleeplessness. So I just make a search for jaundice within 3 words of sleeplessness. And I get the remedy Myrica. So let me take you to the software to understand how easy and how beautiful it is when you get such clinical conditions in the program. Jaundice, 3 words, sleeplessness. And once I press enter, I see from the repertory a few results, and from the reference library 3 remedies: chamomilla, myrica, and rust ox. And since chamomilla has more of a mental and admonition and some sort of a history of uh, chagrin or vexation, it was not there in the case, and that's why I settled for this small remedy, which is myrica. And it's also mentioned in boric about this interesting remedy. So when I go to the program and make a search for jaundice within 3 words of sleeplessness, I get the result myrica. Okay. So myrica 30 was given for 15 days, and you can see within a few days the SGOT SGPT reduced to half. Of course, the SGPT bilirubin also reduced to half, and I think I have one more report where, or a table where it mentions that they got reduced to almost the normal value, especially the SGOT, which became 51, and SGPT became 168. So, within a span of few days, 4 to 5 days, the remedy showed its result, and all credit goes to the program. Of course, the SHS has been newly launched. The reports are quite old. At that time, I was using reference works, which is our earlier program, but the concept of the search has been same. We just make use of keywords of the case and use the numbers 3 or whatever number we feel according to the search options available, and we get the result. So normal method will take you from symptom to repertory and then materia medica. But with the help of the search options in SHS, you will get everything easily, whether it is provings, materia medica, cases, repertory, latest provings, everything on a single page. So before I proceed, I see a question from one of our participant where they show that they ask that there was a rubric heel, pain, needle while or walking aggravates. I'll definitely make a search for that. And blackout of eyes when head is raised or when looked upwards. So I'll see if we can get that. So there is needle like pain in the heel, especially when walking. Okay, this is the question. Needle, heel, walk. Now, if I tell you, many books also have given motion. So we can make a slash or a hyphen, and you know, we make a search for needle, heel, walk or motion. Needle within 3 words of heel, within 3 words of walk or motion. And right now it's not showing any option or any result. So we just try to increase the words by a few digits, like number 5. Okay. So let's see if we can get through that, because I had a similar case and I had got the remedy brine. So here I get rust talks and spongia. Okay. So spongia I get from Ellen's Encyclopedia. Needle-like stitches in the heels while sitting after a long walk. This is the opposite. And it lasts an hour. And there would be rust talks, which has mention of the same uh, feet as if sprained or wrenched, heels as stepping upon pins, as if running nails under the skin in the heels, as if walking upon needles, can be thought of. And then there is, I think, upionum, which is soles of the feet as if walking on needles sticking in the heels. And this is a sensation, so it may not qualify for what we want. What we can also do is we can modify a bit by making a modification in the search option. Needle number 5 heels in the same sentence walk or motion, and I get the same result. So maybe I'll have to settle from some of the remedies from this, and I will have to find out. Okay. So there may be some cases I see in the chat where it is a query from a participant where they don't see a particular search result. Uh, I believe there may be some books lacking, or some books which are not added as yet. Maybe complete reverse repertory. This is what I got. In the original source books, these words are not close enough. So they earlier came to me in the search in the 2015 when I made a search for this result. It gave me a reference from maybe Ellen's Encyclopedia or some book. So we can try to make a search for jaundice and number 5, sleep less. So I get it from 2013 also. So in the reverse repertories in my software, in the reference works back then, it had also these books, and that is where I got it. Okay. So moving further. So what is the core feature of the search? Okay. It gives you freedom from the limitation of repertories. It symptom repertory takes the symptoms and breaks into different component parts, but global search in SHS takes you straight to the symptom in the proving source books, original authors, and thus the symptom is kept intact, which is very important for us, all of us, right? If you are a beginner, you may never know why and how the remedy is added in a rubric. You'll never have the what do you say, the means to make a search to those source books. Once you go by 5, 7, 10 years of practice, you will be inquisitive about how this remedy came into this rubric. And you will be surprised that many of these authors add, just write to the repertory owners or the repertory makers that just add this particular symptom because I saw it in one of my cases. And that's how they are added. So you are relying on just one observation from that author in your clinic for your patient, and there is a big risk. Relying on proving symptoms is more beneficial than relying on a clinical symptom. Clinical symptoms definitely will also help us, but it has to be a repeated occurrence. It has to be proved, reproved in the clinic, seen multiple times, then you can rely on it. So now we go to the same sentence search. So many cases where you saw that I couldn't find an answer to the search words using 3 words, I used the number 5 words, and I could get that particular result. Now same sentence search. A very interesting case I had. This was also long back. So she's the daughter of my receptionist, and the girl, the ex-receptionist, and the girl was passing from the dark street, and suddenly some noise came and she got frightened. She came to the clinic, and with her mother they both left for their home. After 2 hours, I get a call from my receptionist that her daughter is having severe pain in the abdomen, and she is not able to sleep. So I told that just wait for a few hours, maybe it can be flatulence or something like that. And then the pain, subsided after a few minutes. The next day, she had frequent urging to stool. She had to go multiple times, many times, and there was no passage of stool, but she developed constipation. And every time she used to feel that she wants to go to pass the stool, but there was nothing, coming up in the output. So I make a search, which normally everyone would do from the repertory. Fear, fright remains. Constipation, fright from. And the remedy coming is opium. Everyone in my place would have given opium. But something beyond that is important. It didn't help. Opium didn't help. And I had to make a search for this particular interesting symptom of fright and urging for stool frequent. This was the peculiar symptom in the case. So when I open the search option again in the software, so let me take you to the program, and I make a search for fright. Okay. First, I'll make a search for fright within 3 words of urging, or maybe you can say constipation. And I get, opium as a remedy in many repertories. In the reference library, also belladonna or lyco, opium, and something rare, which is what everyone would think normally. Even without doing a repertorization, we can give this remedy. But what was interesting about the case was that she had to frequently go to pass the stool. Then there was urging for stool, which was frequent. So I made a search for fright within 3 words of urging, within 3 words of stool, within 3 words of frequent. Once I make a search result, I search in the SHS, I do not get any result. No result found. So that is where I thought that I should be using the same sentence connector. Why not number 5, because you can see that fright is a component, it can be as an ailments from or causation, and urging to stool frequently is a main symptom. So there is a connection between the main symptom and the causation, which may not be immediately found in a single uh, consecutive word, but it may be somewhere far apart. So I used the connector same sentence, and now I have the result in front of me. Fright in the same sentence, urging within 3 words of stool, within 3 words of frequent. And once I make a result search in SHS, I get the remedy aconite. And you can see it's mentioned cutting, griping, followed by frequent urging to stool after anger or fright. This is how I landed up. You can also land up by to this particular search by using number 5 in the search words. But I would say that both are correct, but it also is important to understand that the same sentence would be applicable in cases where a particular relation between the main symptom and a particular ailment from causative modality or concomitant is seen. So I gave her aconite, and this is, immediately she found herself comfortable. Okay, so cutting, griping, followed by frequent urging to stool after anger or fright. Now, similarly, I had another case where there was coryza, of a patient, very common complaint. But what was unique about him was that he had unique pain in the eyes, and as soon as he used to touch, it used to aggravate. So how do you make a search for this in the software? I used all the combinations of words, number 3, number 5, and whatever, and I didn't get a result. And that's where I thought that I should be using the same sentence connector, pain within 3 words of eyes, within 3 words of touch, in the same sentence coryza, and I get a remedy which is sanguinaria. From Herring's Materia Medica, fluid, coryza, alternating with stoppage, eyes painful to touch, soreness in the nose, or maybe something like that further. So in this way you can reach to the right remedy and the right source book, and not get lost in the vast literature. You have that specificity. So this same sentence search is a kind of a connector between the main symptom which is happening to the patient, which is in this case coryza, and the other symptom in the case, which is somewhere in the source book present, not in the same uh, consecutive words, but in the same sentence somewhere. So that is the meaning of same sentence, that it will definitely be there in the entire sentence of the proving or the materia medica, and it may not be present consecutively or maybe immediately next to the previous word. So when do you use same paragraph and same section? Maybe you have a case where you want to search for burning in the ankle and burning in the leg in the same section, or maybe you want to make a search for maybe something related to head like vertigo and dimness of vision in the same section. So you will use the same section, and same paragraph will mean that there will be uh, a long paragraph where something is mentioned. I have very less used these two of the search options. So it would definitely not be of good interest to anyone as of now, because it's not frequently used also. We have seen presentations and many homeopaths using the commonly used number 3 and number same sentence and same remedy. So I have some cases where same remedy have been mentioned. So if you are asking for when to use same sentence connector, I would say that it would be that maybe you have a case where one symptom is mentioned in one part of the body and in extension of that complaint is happening, or maybe a concomitant symptom is present in the case. So I would say that if you know your source books well, if you know how these source books have long sentences like 2 to 3 lines and not like Bogart concise or precise. So assuming that it may be present in those books, you can make a search for those same sentence results. Now it also entirely depends on whether you get the result from the number 3 used or number 5 used. If not, the next step is to use the same sentence. But where to use the same sentence would be to join two different symptoms which may be present in the same sentence, or a clinical condition and a symptom, or it can be a concomitant and the main symptom, something like that. So let's move. Same remedy search. Now this is one of the very commonly used, and you can use this as a repertorization. So when will you use this? There was an interesting case I had where there was swelling of the hand. This small child, the mother brought to me with some sort of swelling in the hand, and this is how it looked like. It was red, swollen, and completely occupying the hand, the spaces of the entire hand, and all the fingers were swollen like a balloon. She was 1 year old, swelling of left hand since evening. They came to me the next morning. She was very irritable, capricious, obstinate. Coryza since many days, nose block was there. Sleep was also not good. She wakes up frightening. Stools are not good. Urine is good. So what is characteristic in the case? Is it the swelling? Is it the behavior? Is it the sleep? How to focus and go further? How to understand that what words we choose and what not to choose? So confirmed characteristics in the case were that there was painless swelling, and she suddenly wakes up from the sleep as if she has got frightened. And what is common is that she is irritable, she is capricious, she is obstinate, and she has a nose block at night. Nose block at night also can be, kind of characteristic. But what I took in the case, let's see. I took swelling in the hand, which is painless, in the same remedy, startling from sleep. So I go to the program, okay, and so let's see. Swelling hand, painless, in the same remedy, starts sleep. And you get a few remedies over here, which are like number four in number. and arsenic is one of the remedies, and I think euphrasia is another, and lycopodium is another, and then I have sepia. So I chose lycopodium in the case because of the nature of the child and the nose block at night. And in this way, I could see that there was a good improvement in the case. I don't have a follow-up picture over here, but I did have it in the original slide. Let me see if I can get it for you or to see. Where did I pick up the case from? That is okay. 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 So I have over here a good follow-up which I saw in at least one day. Exactly in one day I saw the follow-up, and I do remember this case so easily. So I see a few questions about I am not getting any result using the same remedy. Dr. Madhvi, you are using the reference works program, and I had solved the same case on the reference works. So it should give you the result unless some book which should have this symptom is not there. But I believe these are the symptoms which are present in all the books. So maybe the words used by you may not be the exactly the right words, right? So let me take you to the program. So I use the words swelling, 3 hand, 3 painless in the same remedy, starts sleep, or maybe you can put startling sleep, something like that. Okay, so let's go further and go to some new. Few of the cases are left in the search explanation. Okay, so the uniqueness of the search in SHS, it's very fast. It has very easy shortcuts. Now everyone tells us what is unique in your case, what is unique in your software, what is unique in SHS. I would say that it has very fast search results. You saw that very easily. You could perform, or you could see it very easily, quickly it is coming. It has very easy shortcuts. So all these things are already present in many softwares. Everyone is using one or the other software. It's become a daily essential part of homeopathic practice. But the ease with which the program gives you the options to choose the search connectors, that is what stands apart. It gives you quick result and reliable sources. This is the most important thing. Now I'll be covering a unique aspect of the program, which is incompleteness of the repertory. Okay, so many of your cases where you will be using rubrics in the case, and you will still be stuck up. So let me see for you all the next slide. This was a case of headache. She had on and off headache, used to come anytime. There was weakness. She had taken allopathic medicines and it didn't help. After delivery, the migraine started. Too weak, and there was left hand tremble, kind of only the left hand trembling. There was heaviness in the hands and the legs with the tremors. Likes all okay, dislikes none. Stool good, urine good, sleep 7 to 8 hours. Dreams of people who have died. Smallest things cause stress. She had cough last year, and she thought it must be COVID, because this was what the common complaint with everyone. She has a kid and kids, and they do some mischief and she gets tensed. How will their future be? I make them study well, I give them food on time, I keep care of all their nutrition, but still they are not on par. Mom and dad are not keeping well, so I get tensed. My habit is of thinking, so I gets tensed all the time, anxiety about their health, relatives, and I don't feel fresh through the day. Weakness is there too soon. Perspiration is there on the least work in the home. And her blood reports were also pretty normal. So if I take three important rubrics in the case, I think I forgot to mention about perspiration, slight aggravates. I get so many remedies. Anxiety, health about extremities, trembling, perspiration, exertion, slight aggravates. Nitric acid, phosphorus, silica, agaricus, bryonia, calcarea, cocculus, moxol, phosphoric acid, arsenic, causticum. The list is endless. There is one unique symptom in the case, and that is the trembling of the left hand. But what complaint is it associated with? She has a chronic complaint of headache. And since that time, or maybe after that, this started. So it's a kind of a relationship between these two symptoms. So I make a search in the repertory and I get something which is showing me calcarea force. Extremities, trembling, hands, headache with. Extremities, trembling, hands, headache with. And all the repertories, whichever complete repertory version I have, and the reliable repertory show me calcarea force. I was almost about to believe. The only thing which it didn't have was anxiety health about. Now everyone would say that it's like a common symptom, everyone would have it and we should ignore, and if everything else is fitting the case, why not prescribe it and move ahead? But there is some inquisitiveness always in me which makes me think that there will be something extra which I'll get in the search result of SHS. So I make a search for this particular symptom of headache and trembling and hand. Headache, trembling, hand. So I'm just using keywords of the case. One of the keyword is headache, one of the keywords is trembling, and another keyword is trembling of the hand. This is what the first thing I do, in all the cases, I try to use the number 3. And once I make a search, I get something from the repertory, no doubt about it. Over here, you can see in the extremities also, calcarea force is one of the top remedies. Everywhere it is mentioned. In the reference library, I get 14 remedies, out of which all the routine remedies which are there in the repertory are there, but something unique comes and only one line is mentioned, which is calcarea carb. And this is from the Herring's Materia Medica. Upper limbs, especially hands, become cold and tremble. There is an infinity sign and hereditary headache. So you can see that once I do a double click on it, it opens up the Herring's Materia Medica and it shows me upper limbs, especially hands, become cold and tremble, hereditary headache. Now, if you know Herring's guiding symptoms, Herring's Materia Medica, you will understand that this infinity sign has been mentioned by him in all the places where concomitant symptoms or some clinical condition is seen in patients improving or in Materia Medica or in his clinic. And that is where it opened up my eyes to always make a search for one peculiar symptom of the case in the software. This is what the uniqueness is all about. The artistic use of the program will lead you to the right remedy. Okay, so I'll take you back to the PowerPoint. All right. So you could see in my software how beautifully I get headache, trembling hand, and in a case of hereditary headache from having guiding symptoms. So when I go to the PowerPoint again, there is some sort of incompleteness of the repertoire. This is what I always believed. It can never be complete. If you are a student, if you are in touch with your repertory teacher, go and ask them which is the perfect repertory out there. And chances are that you will not get the right answer. You will always have to use multiple repertories to solve a case, or maybe one repertory for a case, another repertory for another case, and so on and so forth. But still it will never be complete because it's an ongoing process. And in today's age of 2021, if there is no repertory which has this symptom of calcarea carb, then there is there is something which we need to reach to the right remedy, and that's what the programs are all about. So let's move further and understand what else we can do with the help of the programs. So we can export the search to the repertory. There is a small button to the right hand side. I will show you just a moment. I go to the program, and if I get the result over here, okay, I'll just go and make a search again for the same words. And once I get the result over here, there is a small option over here, add search results to the clipboard, and you can add it to the clipboard over here with your other rubrics which are already present. So you do not have to go and look up in 2 3 places, or look for here and there and then here and there again. It is bringing the search result also in your repertory, and that's what will give you the cutting edge in your practice. Okay, so I have just 2 3 more cases. I know that we have reached our time, but I'll finish it up. So this incompleteness of the search or of the repertory is fulfilled using the search in the programs. Now, this is a case which I saw in 2012, long back, 2012 or 13, I don't remember, but it was during that time, 12 or 13. And this patient had a, a unique symptom of stitches in the stitches like needle, needle like stitches in the chest, in the middle of the chest, and operation of the chest when lying down. And he used to startle from sleep. Maybe at times he didn't wake up, and there was craving for fried food. So you repertorize the case, repertorization very well. You repertorize and you get a few remedies. Now this is complete 13 I have used because this is what I saw that at that time. If I use the latest repertories, you will see the remedy result included. But back then in 2012 and 13, this remedy was not there in the latest repertory. And that is what the repertories are all about. It's an ongoing process. So you can see that the main symptom of pain, stitching, needles as of is not present in the repertory. And we need something which leads us to the right remedy. So I make a search in the program, stitches middle chest, and I get say 98 remedies. Okay. And I export that to my repertory sheet, and I see that there are 2 remedies which cover everything over here, which is natramur and alumina. Startling sleep from chest operation lying aggravates, and fried food desire, and chest stitches middle. This is what I searched in the reference library, and I could get it in the program, in the repertory sheet as well. So I chose natramur for him, and he got well very soon after that. So there is some sort of an incompleteness of the repertory which we can fulfill with the help of the other aspects of the program, which is the search result. All right. So using the search as a confirmation for a remedy. Now I'll share a case where one of my colleague, Dr. Pratik, we had shown this case long back, and he had this case where he was a patient of diabetes mellitus since 3 years, and there was poor appetite, irregular schedule. The patient was highly irritable. He feels like hitting the opposite person. Even if he is right and opposite person, he feels that he is right and opposite person is wrong, and he wants to feel, wants to hit that opposite person. And he feels always that he is right. Right and wrong theme was very strongly coming in all aspects of his case. So what the remedy is, but we'll repertorize. If we see the repertorization, contradiction, intolerant of, anger, violent, and duty, too much sense of. This was what he took, and we get the remedies: aurum, ferrum, and strontium carb. And once we see the three remedies, everything is coming in the case, but the sense of right and wrong is very unique, which is what makes us think about the remedy ferrum met, always in the right. This is what Fatak also writes. But how do you understand that ferrum will cure his diabetes? So we can make a search in the program. Now I'll take you to the program and show you something which is very unique. If you have used it, well and good. If you have not used it, you will start using it from today evening. So I'll close all the windows. I'll just make a search for diabetes, and I just press the space bar and I type FERR dot. So it shows me that I want to make a search for diabetes in ferrum metallicum. In the bracket, it's mentioned remedy. So I choose that, and the color of the ferrum remedy has turned to blue. So it will make a search for all the clinical cases and conditions of diabetes of ferrum metallicum. I hope this answers one of our participants' question. To search for osteoarthritis or search for some clinical condition, you will have to put some unique words in the case. Now, diabetes is also a word which was invented in the 19th and maybe the later 20th century. So you make a search for diabetes and ferrum, and you will get some results from the repertory, and you will get some results from the reference library as well. So you are confirming the remedy, the clinical condition of the remedy from the program. Very recently, if you have read Dr. Ashok Burkar's book on pathology factor in homeopathy, he has given a case of gallstone where this lady had a feeling that she was outcast from her society or from her family, the joint family and all, and there was some sort of quarrel going on. So he wanted to search for a remedy from the mammals family covering gallstone. So he just did a search, gallstones, and he tried to limit the search result to mammals. And you can see very beautifully it comes from our all the books about Feltori. So it's an ox gall, and Feltori has this condition of gallstone creation and curing also. So in this way, he could choose the remedy Feltori for this patient who had the feeling of need to belong to the community and to the herd. Okay, so what else do we have? Last few slides and we'll be done for the day. Confirming a remedy or a clinical condition from a book. case of asthma. Old lady comes with complaints of asthma, and I would like to read all the remedies from Materia Medica books like Boric and Clark. How can I focus my search to this? Okay, so let's go to the program. Okay, so you are making us thought to make a search for asthma from Boric Materia Medica. This is what you want. So you just type the words asthma, and over here on the right hand side, there is an option to limit to repertories or to the reference library. And when you limit it to reference library, you can go to the books part over here and you choose Boric's Materia Medica and you click on apply and just press enter. The repertory will no doubt show you something because it is ticked over here. You can remove that tick. But on the reference library tab, you get to see every asthmatic remedy in front of you. There are 120 remedies mentioning asthma in the Boric Materia Medica. In this way, you can make a search for any clinical condition from any book. Like for example, osteoarthritis, you would like to make a search. So I would like to tell you that you can make a search for osteoarthritic word over here. You can see from the auto suggestions that come, and let's see how do we get it. I've never made a search like this because I don't often look for clinical conditions. I look for what is specific in the case, individualistic to the case. And I'm getting 277 remedies for osteoarthritic word in my software. So I need to check whether these are the symptoms or they have been mentioned by some drug authority, something like that. But there is a book which is Hirschoff's musculoskeletal. You can see guaiacum is one of the remedies which is mentioned, and you will get many remedies in the Murphy repertory. Murphy repertory is like the modern day Boric, you know. So you can make a search for that. So we come to an end, and I thank everyone of you to join this particular session. And we look forward to helping you all to learn about all the different features, and many more webinars will keep doing. We are present worldwide, and I would urge you all to go to our Synergy Homeopathic YouTube channel and follow us there, and all the videos have been put up there. And do follow us on Instagram and Facebook also, Synergy Homeopathic India, and the main handle is Synergy Homeopathic. So I would request all the participants, if there are any questions, please feel free to share over here. One question I forgot to answer, I now understand. Okay, just let me go back to the long chat message. Blackout of eyes when head is raised or when looked upwards. So let me find that out if I can from the software. Vertigo, head raised. Okay, so we have vertigo on raising the head. I don't know if we can get something specific which is blackening of vision or dark vision from the particular source books. Still, we can try to search it because it's a good question. There are too many words in the search area, so you will obviously get a no search result or something like that. So it's better to use a connector in between which separates these two words. Okay, so it will be kind of using the same sentence connector maybe. So let's go and replace this by same sentence. Let's see if we can get something from the source books. and still we are not getting anything. So I would urge the questioner to find uh, any other word she would like to use, or I just I choose the word vision in the same sentence: vertigo, 3 words head, 3 words raised. And I get from Hahnemann's Materia Medica Pura: when lying on the back, unable to raise the head on account of vertigo and obscuration of vision. This is not what she wanted, but maybe we can make some permutations and combinations. And let me also find out another question. So what to do when I do not find any result introducing the words used by you? I don't know, the library is very important, and try to use some other words, because the concept of the search is same in all the software. It just changes the result based upon what you are, what words your, what library do you have. Okay, that is one of the major things. And try to use as minimal words as possible. So you saw how I used lot of words like black, 3 vision, 3 vertigo, 3 head, 3 raised, and it didn't give me any result. Whereas I used the word vision in the same sentence: vertigo, 3 head, 3 raised, and it gave me some result. So maybe try to use minimal words, and try to use words which have location, sensation, modality concomitant. That is 80% of your search options. Okay, so few more questions and then we wrap up. Uh, this last search on asthma from a particular book is not clear. So I understand your question very clearly. I want to make a search for asthma from the book Borix Materia Medica. Okay. And I remove this option of giving me the result from the repertory as well. So I choose search in reference library only the word asthma, and limit it to the book Borix Materia Medica. Apply, and then I make a search, and then I just get the result from the reference library for the word asthma from the Boric Materia Medica. This is what the search specifies. Okay, so I think Dr. Piyush Joshi has something interesting. Vision, 4 words, head, vertigo, 3 head, 4 raised in the same remedy, vision, 4 vanish, 4 vertigo. This is very complex, but let's try to find. Thank you, Dr. Piyush. So, for helping one of our participants. So, we have this interesting result from Dr. Piyush for a query, which is vision, vanish, vertigo. He has mentioned something else also, but I'll just try to make a search for this particular symptom, because that is what exactly what she says. Vision vanishing transient with vertigo, chinopodium antihelminthicum, and belladonna, nux vomica, and sulfur. Nux vomica again on the same basis it's coming. And over here we have terebinthinum from Borix Materia Medica also. All right. And I have one query from one of our participants about the new version. Yes, we have this new version, and I would like to find trembling right hand plus headache, occipital and extremities pain, DX to SX pain, calf making mad with pain. Now this is a very, very, very long expression of the patient, but I don't know if so many words you'll be using and finding out. So trembling hand in the same remedy, occiput pain, and let me just go through this again. Trembling right hand, headache, occipital extremities, pain, pain. So I would say mad to pain is mostly anguish pain with, right? All right. So I'll make a search for trembling, 3 words hand in the same. It has to be same remedy. I have just jumbled it up. So it would be no result because okay. So we are on target now, and I'll also remove the filter which was added earlier. I couldn't remove it. So this is often happens with all of us that we add some filter and we don't remove it. Trembling, 3 words hand in the same remedy, occiput pain in the same remedy, anguish pain. And we try to search for some result and let us see if we can get any. We get a lot of remedies, so we need to individualize uh, more to find out what can be done in this case. All right, so we try to find just the last symptom, hair on the chin and upper lip in females, but doctor, this would be more of a case of PCOD, so you will require many symptoms in the case. So still, I would definitely try to find hair on the chin. And you have oleum jacoris, and you have, uh, the rubric is itself present. It has natramyr, oleum jacoris, pulsatilla, selenium, and sulfur, and especially women, and that is the rubric. And in the reference library, you have so many of the symptoms, like 29 remedies are given. We have a whole lot of materia medica on that. But I'll still say that individualizing the case of PCOD or whatever is the clinical condition would be important. So anyways, many thanks all participants, and I know that the learning is still deficient, but we'll try to bridge the gap by taking more sessions every month and putting up all the recordings also for your future reference and ready reckoner all the time. So thank you all, and